إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ثم ما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تبارك وتعالى، وخير هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. وبعد. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the praise is due to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. We worship Him, we seek His assistance, and we seek refuge in Him, Allah Azza wa Jal, from the evil within all of ourselves and from the bad consequences of our evil deeds. And so over Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He guides to the straight path. None will be able to lead him astray. If Allah guides him and keeps him on guidance during his journey, then no one will be able to lead him astray. Over Allah, the mighty, the sublime, the one who has all of the knowledge and knows that which is in the chest of men, chooses to leave him astray, chooses to leave that person to other than guidance, then no one will be able to guide him except by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every witness is there is no God, there is no deity, there is no one that should be worshipped in truth, and the true aspect of worship besides Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last prophet and messenger to humanity. O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, keep your duty to Allah, leave the prohibited things and obey Him, and don't die except as those who have submitted to Him. O mankind, fear your Lord who has created all of you from a single soul, and from that soul created for Him a mate, and from them came countless many men and women. And give the rights to one another and keep the ties by the same Lord that has created you, in order that He may not hold you accountable for breaking those ties and not giving those rights, because indeed He is a watcher over you. O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, leave the prohibited things in order to earn the pleasure of Allah. Leave it for the sake of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, and speak the truth and the time when the truth can be spoken. Speak the truth where it will benefit and not cause harm, in order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will rectify your affairs. Allah will rectify your affairs if you speak the truth in a timely fashion, if you enjoin the good and prohibit the evil in a way that it will benefit, and Allah will forgive you for your sins. Whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger, therefore they achieve the greatest of achievements. Verily, the most truthful speech is the book of Allah, the Quran, that which Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has sent down, and it is not the kalam of a human, it is the speech of Allah. And the finest guidance is the guidance of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And from all of the bad deeds in the religion, from amongst the worst of them, or the newly invented matters, those which the people bring that has no basis in the religion, those things that the people they invented after the religion has been completed. Every innovation is astray, thus every astray will lead you to the hellfire. Tonight, bi'ithnillah tabarak wa ta'ala, we want to talk about the issue of fasting. We want to talk about the issue that which Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has made from the pillars of Islam. We want to talk about that which Allah tabarak wa ta'ala has blessed this ummah with as a way of getting close to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to talk about that which is the issue connected to fasting in the month of Ramadan. We will take, inshaAllah tabarak wa ta'ala, some benefit from one of the simple works that has been written by Shaykh al-Imam Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen around Nuqtat al-Sawm. Nuqtat al-Sawm, yani just taking a glimpse, taking a little bit of penetration into the issue of Sawm, fasting. The Shaykh was talking about حكم الصيام وأقسام الناس فيه. حكم الصيام وأقسام. حكم الصيام means the rulings, the things that are connected to fasting. And we should understand hukmu here firstly refers to Allah. When you say hukmu or hukum, this means what Allah has decided about an affair. It has nothing to do with the decisions of human beings. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordains something, or Allah has prohibited something, or Allah has made something allowed, then this is called hukmu. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned this in the Quran. He said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. Whoever does not rule by what Allah has sent down. Allah tabarak wa ta'ala says, فَحُكْمَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْيَبَغُونَ. And is it the rulings, the decisions of the days before Islam that you prefer? Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Imran about this hukum. He said, وَالَّذِي أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ. It is He who has sent down to you, Muhammad, the book. وَالَّذِي أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ مِنْهُ آيَاتٌ مُحْكَمَاتٌ هُنَّ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ وَأُخَرُ مُتَشَابِهَاتٌ. So it is He, Allah, who has sent down to you that book, O Muhammad. He sent down the book, meaning the Quran. This is another way we know Quran is called the book. Allah refers to it as the book. He said in that book, ayatun muhkamatun. There are two types of ayat. There are the type of verse that you will get some type of hukum from. Hukum means what Allah decides, legislation, what Allah says you can do, what you can't do, like this. And then Allah said, Hunna ummul kitab. They are the foundations of the book. Meaning these are the things that you go to first. The things that are primary and foundational in the religion, and Baba Ula, these are the things that we should go to first. The first things. وَأُخْرَى مُتَشَابِهَاتٍ. And others, they have to be explained. We understand this in human life. If you have something that you understand, over something that you don't understand, which one would you take the task first? Would you indulge? Would you try to make your endeavors in that which you don't understand? Or would you indulge? Would you try to make your endeavors in that which you understand? We will all probably agree that which you understand. So this is the same thing in the religion. Tabarak wa ta'ala points out to us. The hukum of Allah. The ayats that pertain to the hukum of Allah. They are the foundations of the religion. These are the things that you go to, that they're going to be clear. rather than those things that are not so clear or that they're debatable and like this. So the Sheikh is going to talk about hukmu siyam, the rulings concerning siyam. Therefore, we need for everything that the Sheikh he brings, ayat or hadith, or ayat and hadith. If he's going to talk about hukmu siyam, then it has to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and or his messenger. If you're talking about that which is hukmu, rulings, regulations, do's and don'ts, then this has to come from Allah and or his messenger. It cannot be that which human beings bring, hatta ashabi rasuli, even his companions, hatta ashabi rasuli, even if it be the companions of the messenger. You cannot take their statements as a hukmu, except if they say, we used to do in the time of the Prophet. We used to say in the time of the Prophet. If they say we used to say and we used to do, then the ulama, they mention of the past. Always start with the ulama of the past. From the Sahaba themselves, then the Tabi'een, then the Ittiba' Tabi'een, and down the line to your generation. Those scholars from the past to now, they have agreed that the Sahaba say we used to say in the time of the messenger, or in the life of the messenger. We used to do in the time of the messenger. In the life of the messenger, then they say this takes the ruling hukmu marfu'ah. Hukmu marfu'ah. Meaning as if the Prophet said or did this thing. Why? Because if they did something or said something and the Prophet was alive and it was wrong, by default, Allah would send down revelation against it. So the fact that they did something, the Sahaba, and they said something, the Sahaba, and it was during the life of the Prophet, not after he died, but while he was alive, if he didn't say anything against it, it was because Allah didn't send down any revelation against it. If they did something or said something, the Prophet was quiet, it was a way of approval. Therefore, that can be called hukmu. Why? Because the Prophet was on the scene, and if it was wrong, Allah would have sent down revelation. Other than that, anything that the Sahaba do, and we're using them as the first example because they are the greatest people after the prophets and messengers, and they have more right that you go back to them to find out how things were understood and explained to them by the messenger, then even them, their statement cannot be called hukmu, except if it's something that they did in the time of the messenger or said in the time of the messenger and the Prophet didn't dispute it. It becomes sunnah. It becomes okay by his silent approval, they say, because if it was wrong, Allah would correct it. If it was something that was not right, something would be sent down to deal with it. So the ulama, they call the hukmu marfu'ah, as if the Prophet himself said or did something, because they did and said while he was alive, in his presence, or during his time while he was alive, and Allah did not send down any injunction against it. So hukmu, it's always related to ayat and hadith. Ayat and hadith meaning the saying or action of the Prophet or his silent approval. Other than that, this cannot be hukmu. After the death of the Prophet, statements and things that the companions did, unless it was a text for it, unless the Prophet agreed with it during his time, unless they have an ayat, then even their statements cannot be considered hukmu. Cannot be considered hukmu, meaning a legal verdict. Something binding that everyone has to follow. So Shaykh Uthaymeen, the first thing he's going to talk about in this essay is hukmu siyam. And there are many different issues about siyam that you need to know. Then he's going to talk about aqsama nasi, different types of people, as people are different. When you come to talk about circumstances and who has to fast, who may have to feed, who may not have to feed at all, who may have to make up something, different types of people. People that have their intellect, people that are temporarily insane, people that are permanently insane, people that are terminally sick, people who are temporarily sick. All of this falls under Aqsam an-Nas, the different types of people and their circumstances. He's also going to talk about, barakallahu fikum, al-muftarat, the things that break the fast. And there's some difference of opinion. There's some difference of opinion in different areas about things. But sometimes things are presented because of the possibility of problem that they can make. For example, if you talk about breaking the fast, the issue of bleeding. There's the bleeding of the lady because she's on her menses. Obviously speaking, that breaks the fast. As a lady, if she's fasting and she starts to bleed, her fast is broken along with her salat. The salat she doesn't make up, while the fast she has to make up. Likewise, if a person has a bleeding from a wound, this is a type of bleeding. But that type of bleeding does not break the fast. The bleeding from a wound. Also, there's a type of bleeding where a person himself has the blood drawn from him, such as a person having to give blood samples at the doctor, or a person who himself, he or she, gets what's called hijama. And hijama is the old Chinese method of removing impurities from the blood. There's a difference of opinion with regards to the issue of hijama, Chinese medicine, Chinese cupping. If you get blood taken at the doctor, blood samples, because you have to get an examination or something, that doesn't break the fast. But the hijama, because what's taken out and how much blood and the weakness that it can cause, then because it's something that may make a person have to break the fast, then some of the scholars have deduced from this that you cannot get hijama while you fast. And that's because you yourself, if there's a way to get this done after fasting, then it's preferable to take it after fasting. Because if you take the amount of blood that comes out of hijama, Chinese cupping, 9 out of 10, you have to put something back. Have to put something back. And that having to put something back may force you to have to drink. And if you do something that will inhibit the breaking of the fast, then this becomes a hukm, a ruling that you don't do that thing, because one of the things that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He teaches us in His books, He said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا لِلزِّنَا وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Taqaraba means nearness, closeness, to be on top of something or to be around something. So Allah said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. The ta being added to this word means you're actually doing something to be close. You're actually taking some steps towards achieving something. So Allah said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا, and then He mentioned zina, which means illegal intercourse. And Allah gave it this name zina from the word zina. Zina means something looks good to you. Like the brothers, Allah musta'an. I remember back in the day, maybe 15, 20 years ago, being a young Muslim around brothers that, obviously knew more Islam, I thought, than me. They were older. I remember the brothers saying, as they looked at something that was beautiful to them, something that was alluring, they would say, Astaghfirullah, because there's a limit to looking, even if there's some beauty. So the person would look at the the lady or the female in front of him purposely and say, Astaghfirullah, which means, oh Allah, forgive me, because now he's lusting. Then he would say, look at that, akhi, subhanallah. You cannot say, look at that, akhi, subhanallah, and prior to that you said astaghfirullah, knowing that it's wrong. But the issue was is zina, something that's beautiful. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala made the woman by default a beauty in the eyes of the man. So therefore, because the shaitan beautifies it, he makes the thing more alluring than it really is, in order that you may desire it. Then Allah named it zina. And that's why he said, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا zina. Don't come close, don't come near to the things that make you want to have this type of beautification in a way that's haram, meaning illegal intercourse. So ulama, they have deduced from this, likewise, anything that leads to any other wrong or any other thing that's prohibited, you must avoid, based upon this verse of Allah. And that's why this is a hukmu. This is a hukmu, that you shouldn't do something that may lead to you breaking your fast. Even though it may not break the fast originally, if it leads to it, then you have to leave it off. For example, we can change the subject. It's still under the umbrella of what breaks the fast. We talked about hijama. There's a difference of opinion. Some of them say you can get it while you're fasting. Some of them said you can't. You can go to Sahih Bukhari. There's a chapter about this. There's a lot of opinions by the Sahaba. Some of them used to get it. Then they stopped getting it while they were fasting. Others said no problem. And then others said there's a problem. The point is that most of the hadith shows that if you're getting an hijama and you're fasting in Ramadan, then it's okay. If you're getting a hijama and you're fasting in Ramadan, it's okay. When is it okay? When you're one of those people that's traveling in Ramadan. As Prophet traveled from Medina to Mecca in Ramadan, he was fasting. And he got hijama in Mecca. But understand that for the traveler, he can keep his fast or break his fast. He can keep his fast or break his fast. It's a traveler. It's up to him. And the Prophet didn't blame those people who broke their fast. Neither did he blame those who kept the fast. So in this case, you can get your fast in Ramadan. You can take your fast in Ramadan. And you can, at the same time, while fasting, get hijama, for example, if you're traveling. But if you're in Medina during that time, and you got an hijama, which is the Chinese cupping, then because it may make a person have to break his fast, it may be something that puts a person in a situation where he's in need of water, he's dehydrated, then that person would not take the hijama, the Chinese cupping, while he is fasting and he is a local. If he is traveling, then the situation changes because of the rulings of fasting while traveling. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the one who's sick, aw ala safarin, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. Then if he's sick or on a journey, then let him fast another set of days, meaning at another time, to make the days up for the ones that he missed because sickness, or those that he missed because he or she was fasting. So this is hukmu, ruling from the book and the sunnah, as it relates to what breaks the fast. Now, and we also have, barakallahu fikum, the issue of taqbil mar'ah. Naam, taqbil mar'ah, kissing the wife during fasting. A difference of opinion. As the Prophet used to kiss his wife while fasting. And the hadith is clear. So if you look at this, you have a text. You say yes. Kissing in Ramadan does not break your fast. While you are fasting, you may kiss your wife. But again, remember the principle. وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا زِنَا وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا meaning coming close to, taking steps to something that is wrong. So ask yourself, is breaking the fast purposely wrong? Without an excuse, can a person just say, okay, I'm going to eat in Ramadan? No. So therefore, if a person is going to do something, and he know it's going to lead to his breaking of the fast, then that thing becomes haram. So when the Prophet ﷺ kissed his wife, and it doesn't describe, by the way, it just said kiss. How the kiss, how long, what type, it doesn't matter. It doesn't state. But kissing, we know, this is something where you use your lips. You touch your lips on the lips of your wife or somewhere in the face or what have you, like this. Kiss. Now we know the kiss. I'm going to work, honey, like this. Assalamu alaikum, see you, like this. Okay, tayyib. But if a person knows that he can't control his kiss, and sometimes this happens between mates, the wife can't control it, the husband can't control it. It's not like you could say, oh, they purposely broke it, they were playing with the religion. No. Sometimes passions and being youthful and how much you love a person and attractions, they overpower you. So if a person knows, I'm not going to be able to kiss my wife and go to work without having some problem after kissing her that will lead to breaking my fast. Or if the person knows that the kiss is going to, in itself, without doing anything else, cause him problems sexually, where he may discharge something because he can't control that part, and some people are like that, then that kiss for that individual becomes la yajuz. He cannot kiss his wife. And this is where the difference of opinion comes in, based on the person, based on the circumstance. So the Sheikh is going to deal with the likes of these things that breaks the fast, eating and drinking, and so forth, from the issues of fasting. Any questions? We'll give a minute to see if there's any questions before we continue with the next point. Any questions? You can press the star key twice to unmute if you have any questions. Wa barakallahu feekum. Salam to barakatuh. Yep. The issue about bleeding, we're talking about the simple bleeding of a wound. People have the issue we're talking about as it relates to the bleeding. The questioner is asking, before we go any further, for you guys, your listeners, barakallahu feekum, on the radio station, on the internet, about the difference of opinion with bleeding. We know that the menstrual bleeding, it breaks the fast. We also know that there's a difference of opinion about hijama. Some says that that type of bleeding doesn't break the fast because Prophet ﷺ received this in Ramadan and he kept his fast. And others say that it's disliked, it's makruh, from some of the Sahaba like Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Anas ibn Malik, and a group of them said that it's disliked because it may cause some type of fatigue or something like this. Then later on, others said, like Aisha, that it's okay with a group of women. And then others said that it's not okay. So the issue of the hadith in Bukhari, Ibn Hajar Asqalani explains that when they were getting the hijama in the beginning of the days of fasting, the Prophet said to them they shouldn't do it because they were new fasters. It was hot, and so forth, as a precautionary measure. And then after people started fasting for a while and got used to it, then he allowed it. So that's one take on why they have a difference of opinion. There's another side that said that the Prophet did take hijama while fasting when he traveled, the year that he went from Medina to Mecca. And we understand that because of the ruling of travel, then the one who's fasting is able to break or keep his fast. So therefore, if a person was traveling, fasting in Ramadan and decided to do hijama, it wouldn't break his fast. And if he broke his fast, wala haraj, there's no sin on him because you have the option. While you still have to make that day up at a later time. But if you're local, then you cannot take the chance to do hijama. And you cannot certainly break the fast except there's a sin on you. So these are the two positions about the issue of getting the hijama while fasting the month of Ramadan. Some of them say you can, some of them say you can't. When we look at the issue of why the Prophet did it and his circumstance of travel, then you understand where the issue really lies. So we say that a person should not. Shaykh Uthaymeen has this position, and it is also a position in the Hanbali madhab that you should not get the fasting combined with hijama. If you're in Ramadan, you're fasting, do not get hijama because it will break your fast, meaning you put yourself in a predicament where you may have to break the fast. And by doing that, it's something that breaks your fast. Just by putting yourself in that predicament, it's one of the things that will break your fast. Now, Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala he mentioned that a person should avoid the muftarat min tulu al-shams ila al-ghurub al-shams, min tulu al-shams not tulu al-shams min tulu al-fajr, min tulu al-fajr ila ghurub al-shamsi. That a person should avoid the things that break the fast from tulur. What is tulur? Tulur means something appears. I made a mistake. I said tulur al-shams. Pardon me. I meant to say tulur al-fajr. That you can eat, drink, have relations with the wife, any of the things that are allowed. You can do those things throughout the night as long as the fajr has not appeared, as long as salat al-subh has not appeared. And once the fajr has appeared, this is called tulur al-fajr. So this is the cutoff. And we know that many of the countries, Allah musta'an, when I first became Muslim, over 25 years ago, approximately now 26 to be exact, they used to have on the calendar at a lot of the places of worship, the masajid, that we don't recommend that people call the mosque, because this is not befitting. A'udhu billah, masjid, place of prostration, place of worship. Mosque has a whole nother meaning. They used to have these things they used to send out at the masjid, or what they like to call this term that we say we shouldn't use, mosque. And one of them had a 6th time. It had 5 times of prayer: Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. But they had an additional one that said Yani Imsak. They put this on the calendar. It means this is the time you have to stop eating. And it would normally be 20, sometimes 30 minutes before Fajr, before the time of the prayer to come in. We know this is an innovation. And you have a lot of narrations and a lot of customs that people have. Yes? Somebody's unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Barakallahu feekum. So we understand that the Shaykh is mentioned in here, min tulul al-fajr, not 30 or 20 minutes before. And you do have some hadith where they said the amount of time the Prophet would take to eat his suhoor would be the amount of time it would take to read 50 verses of the Quran before the adhan. But this doesn't mean that you have, as they say, muqayyad, you are restricted, that you have to eat with enough time. 50 verses can be read until the adhan. No. Because you also have the hadith. Could somebody mute their phone, please? Jazakumullah khairan. They're having the whole conversation. We can kind of hear it. That's Jazakumullah khairan. Allah yafadak. Allah bless you, please. Now, so somebody's still talking, and it's like in the recording. Barakallahu feek. Could they please mute their phone? Now, so we know we have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He's mentioning also, يعني كلوا واشربوا حتى يؤذن ابن مكتوم, that you eat and drink until you hear the adhan of Ibn Maktum. Now, till you hear the adhan of Ibn Maktum. Now, which is the adhan of the man who was blind. We also have the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he was eating suhoor with one of the Sahaba. And that Sahaba, he said that we ate suhoor until we went out to the masjid at the time of the iqamah. So what does all of this show? It shows a little flexibility. And that tulu al-fajr, yani barakallahu fikum, doesn't necessarily mean when fajr is in, you stop, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't. It depends if the person himself is already eating, as we find narrations from the Sahaba eating, and the iqama was being called. In some cases, the adhan was being called, and the Prophet didn't prohibit them from finishing their meal. And this is because Prophet he mentioned the issue of suhoor, the issue of taking something before you actually start your fast, because in it is a lot of help, in it is a lot of barakah. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, ماذا وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر, and eat and drink until the white thread has been made distinct from the black thread, the thread of the fajr. The ulama, they mention, barakallahu fikum, such as Abdullah bin Abbas, the ulama of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, that this verse, it means daw al-nahar min sawad al-layl. Naam, daw al-nahar min sawad al-layl. Daw al-nahar, the light that comes with letting you know the day is approaching. From the sawad al-layl, from the darkness that you have at nighttime. So whenever you can look and see that the sky is changing, you know, okay, that's when I need to stop eating. But that's when it, barakallahu fikum, is clear to a person that it's fajr time. But if that person is already eating, and the Sheikh mentioned this, and he doesn't know that it's close to fajr, he can't tell, or he thinks that he has time, even if the fajr came in, the general ruling is there is no sin on that person, because he was eating, although fajr came in out of ignorance. He or she thought that they still had time, fajr haven't arrived yet. So if they're eating and the fajr came and they had no idea, then they are to keep their fast. They are from those that, yani barakallahu fikum, they have an udhr, which is jahl. They have udhr, an excuse, which is the issue of ignorance. As from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, as that was the ayah of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, then we understand that from his actions, he is the one who explains and shows the application of these verses. Then you have the hadith where he said, eat and drink until you hear the adhan of the blind man, Abdullah ibn Maktum. Now, and this was the one who used to call the adhan of Fajr. So this shows that the issue of stopping before Fajr is not legislated, as they have on some of the prayer calendars in SAC, meaning stop your eating 20 minutes before or so forth. And we have the other hadith of the Prophet, we was eating yani ma'adhan his suhoor with one of the Sahaba, and he said we ate our suhoor until we finished, and then we walked to the masjid yani at the time of the iqamah. So to show that the person can eat beyond the adhan if he has something even up to the iqamah. These are from some of the benefits the Shaykh will bring in his essay. Now, the Shaykh says, Siyama Ramadan, بعد يعني حمد الله وثناء عليه وصلاة على رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. After he praised Allah and he opened and he sent salutations upon the Messenger, he said, Siyama Ramadan, أحد أركان الإسلام العظيم. Shaykh al-Uthaymeen, he said, Siyama Ramadan is one of the great, magnificent pillars of Islam. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم بني الإسلام على خمس. And this is in accordance with the statement of the Prophet, Islam is built upon 5. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان إلى آخر هذا حديث متفق عليه. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Islam is built upon 5 foundations, 5 pillars. He mentioned the shahada to Allah and His Messenger, that you establish the prayer, and that you pay the zakat, and that you fast in Ramadan, وَتْحُجُّ الْبَيْتِ إِنَّ اسْتَطَعْتَ عَلَيْهِ سَبِيلٌ, and that you make the Hajj if you have the ability. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. There is a narration, as the narration, يعني barakallahu fikum, is in Muslim. In Bukhari, the fasting comes last. The fasting comes last. So if you hear someone narrate the hadith and they say, وَصَوْمَ وَحُجُّ الْبَيْتِ وَصَوْمَ رَمَضَانَ, they're not making a mistake. In the hadith of Bukhari, he mentioned Hajj al-Bayt wa Sawma Ramadan, that you make the Hajj and that you fast in Ramadan. In the narration in Sahih Muslim, barakallahu fikum, he said, wa tasuma Ramadan wa tahujj al-Bayt, and that you fast in Ramadan, and lastly he mentioned Hajj. And it's the ta'ta ilayhi sabil, for whoever he has a way, physically, monetarily, and that he has good health, then he makes that Hajj. For the lady, she has a mahram is included. She cannot go by herself. Contrary to the fatwa of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, where he says that a lady is allowed to make Hajj with another lady if her mahram is old. And this was a question that was asked to him. Shaykh Fawzani brings this also in his book about issues of women matters in the religion. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, a lady was asked about making Hajj. Her father was very old, feeble, he could not make it. So number one, she had a mahram. He was alive, but he was too old. His conditions would not allow him. So she asked, can I make Hajj with another lady, meaning her aunt? Can I make Hajj with another lady, meaning her mother? Can I make Hajj with another lady, her sister? Like this from the family members. And Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, he said yes. Well, barakallahu fikum, we understand that this is a issue that the Shaykh is trying to solve. This is called fatawa. This is different from hukmo. If you have a text for something, then this is hukmo. If there's no obvious text, then someone can try to solve an issue and give you an independent decision, which is called fatawa. So there's a difference between fatawa and hukmo. Many of the times the brother said, the Shaykh he said, and he mentioned some statement of the Shaykh. He mentioned what the Shaykh himself has mentioned. But you cannot take and mention what the Shaykh has mentioned over a clear verse, a hadith. Because hadith is hukmo. It's called that which is the ruling that everyone has to stick to. And the fatawa is when there is something that the person does not have in front of them, it has not reached them, they do not know about this text, so they have to make an independent verdict, or there's no clear independent verdict with that meaning